Look, I mean, the only thing I'm going to advocate is Bitcoin. And that's the only thing I advocate. I'm not advocating Google stock or Apple stock or Amazon stock. I'm not even advocating my own stock. Like, to be clear, like, I'm an equal opportunity, ambiguous analyst with regard to property. I'm not going to tell you to buy property in New York City or Moscow or Los Angeles. I'm not going to advocate a trophy asset or a collectible. I'm not going to advocate or opine on any other crypto. I don't know how they will end. I'm open-minded to the sense that it's possible to create things, but there are many, many different ways to do it. Right? I mean, there's a lot of ways to create functionality, and there's a lot of models. And I think there are a lot of different countries in the world, right? So different countries and different regulators will have different opinions, and different management teams will do different things, and stuff will happen. And if you want to have an opinion on silver, I think you should study silver for 10,000 hours. And for someone to have an opinion on Ethereum, they should study that for 10,000 hours, and you can take their opinion if you like. My opinion is clearly the least risky thing and the purest thing that's come out of the crypto ecosystem is Bitcoin. And the reason I advocate it is because it's property and not a security. And I'm not going to advise you to invest in any private company. I'm not going to advise you to invest in any public company. I'm not going to advise you to invest in any of 20,000 other things. I think that those are all individual decisions that people have to make. And I would willingly grant, like, maybe the best investment for you is to own a ranch in Kansas. People do well, or own a bunch of lumber, right? Or own an oil well, or own a natural gas facility. There's a lot of businesses that make sense for people. And, if you have proprietary knowledge about it, and you have strategic assets and interest in it, and it fits with your family, your citizenship and your long-term intent, right, to live wherever you're going to live, then I think you do that thing.
But cryptocurrency is global, right? It's not just in the U.S. So even if U.S. cracked down hard from a regulatory standpoint, presumably, like Raoul Paul says, maybe they just go offshore. So if you had to I know you're not advocating for it, but best guess, do you think crypto will continue to grow and gain usership in 5 to 10 years?
I think that what's going to happen is digital property in the form of Bitcoin is going to grow. I think digital currency in the form of the dollar is going to grow. I can't be sure which network, but I think that the overall digital currency network will grow. I think that other digital currencies will grow as well, but much less so. I think that the dollar is the king winner, and I think the euro maybe number 2, and the CNY, and then all the rest will be small. And I think that ultimately the digital currency will eat into fiat currencies. The digital property, Bitcoin, will eat into properties. It'll eat into gold. It'll eat into real estate. It'll demonetize other corporate bonds and stores of value instruments over time. I think that there'll be a lot of innovation in other areas, but again, most of the proof of stake networks, they're all companies, right? And so they're private companies. And if they can come public, maybe they'll be, the next Google or the next something. But the way I think about them is I think of them as technology ventures, a la Instagram or Snapchat or something like that. And you manage your risk accordingly, right? I mean, do you trust the people doing it? Do you understand the regulations? Look, most of them are non-compliant right now, but Uber and Airbnb were non-compliant too, right? Like Airbnb is illegal in half the places they operate, and Uber is. It's what happens. Who knows what happens, right? People tend to get very sensitive when money is at stake, as opposed to other things. But people are sensitive about a lot of stuff. So if you want to invest in technology, then you go and invest in technology, but just keep your eyes open about what the risks are. And I generally think that the most important thing, though, is the regulatory risk is huge if you're going to move money around. And the reason that Bitcoin works is because the use case is property. I'm buying a block of money, I'm holding it for a decade, and I'm not moving it around. At the point that you want to move the money 1 million times an hour, and you want to move it to 1,000 or 100,000 counterparties, you start to cross into other regulatory jurisdictions. Right now, you're dealing with the Treasury and the OCC, and you're dealing with tax issues and the like. So if you're going to get into those use cases, the big question that everybody in crypto has got to ask themselves is, why is it that Google hasn't already done this? Because Google has more money than God. Why has Amazon not done this? Why has Citadel not done this? Why has Apple not done this? Why has a centralized company running in Silicon Valley not done it? They all have infinite money. They all have infinite programmers. And if the answer is because they thought they'd get shut down by the regulators, then you have to figure out how you're going to deal with that, right? And if the answer is they could do it, then the question is, do you need a token or not? The challenge with funding anything with a token is a token looks like equity. If there's a management team and it's giving the token to itself, or it's selling the token to an investor, it's equity. And equity is a security. And securities could be sold pursuant to full and fair disclosure, and there's always a bunch of laws around them. So that's the thing you got to ask yourself. It's if you're actually ducking all those rules, then you got no competition. And the reason you have no competition is because it's illegal and unethical, right? So you got to make sure that you work out the law and work out the ethics. And if you're an entrepreneur in the crypto world, and after that, if you're an investor, you just got to have a very, very thoughtful opinion about what is this thing I'm investing in, and how is all this going to work itself out. Right now, it's just a very murky world.
Final questions, Aaron?
Definitely. Michael, I'd be remiss for my own community if I didn't ask you this. Please, share as much or as little as you want. And I ask you this because recently Charles Hoskinson, founder of Cardano, just spoke in front of Congress regarding fair cryptocurrency regulations. Now, this question I would ask you is not about regulations. It's not about investment, but you're a tech expert. So from a technology point of view, Cardano versus the rest of the cryptocurrency market, what are your thoughts?
I don't have any opinion on Cardano. My opinion is Bitcoin is a digital commodity.